Good morning, my name is Joshua Wagner, and I'm a member of UIW nursing students, and we're here today to talk to you about obesity and healthy eating for adolescents. We're focusing on adolescents today because the rate of obesity is increasing in this group, and according to a study done recently, 90% of adolescents who are obese remain obese into their 30s. And why this is a problem is because the majority of chronic illnesses and complications that's related to obesity happens later on in life. There are some chronic illnesses such as diabetes that are increasingly happening to people younger and younger, but the majority of the complications happen later in life. All right, so these are the objectives that we're going to teach you today. So by the end of the presentation, we're going to teach you how to state what a healthy weight is according to your adolescent's height and age. We're going to teach you how to define what obesity is. You'll be able to state the consequences that obesity has, and you'll be able to identify healthy eating choices. And lastly, we're going to show you different methods on how to prepare a healthy meal by the end of the presentation. But before we start, we're going to play a short video just to show the different consequences that obesity has on young adolescents.
It was just like every day I went to school, I got picked on. I can't take it.
Or what have the kids been saying to you?
They'll call me names, just talk.
What do the bullies say to her? What do they call her?
Call her fat.
Linebacker. You know, just name the little girl. Little girl don't supposed to hear nothing like that. A 12-year-old girl. It make you worried, then it make you angry about the people that's saying things to her. You know, you're being a parent, you want to protect your child at all times, you know. And with them, you know, just like she shouldn't have to do that. See, people shouldn't judge people from the outside anyway.
Cheater, I want red.
In the eyes of every parent, their child is special, unique, beautiful. But doctors are now warning Brianna that she faces a future of possible health problems, diabetes, heart attacks, which could cut her life short.
One day I went to the doctor and they said I weighed 325.
When you heard that, when your doctor said you weighed 325, how did you feel?
Not good.
Were you surprised?
Very.
What were you thinking?
Like, how could I weigh this much and I'm just a kid?
Since that visit, Brianna has gained even more weight. The doctors have told her that 52% of her body mass, more than half, is now made up of fat. At 12 years old, Brianna is considered morbidly obese.
She come to me one day and she was like, I am so tired of people picking on me about my weight. And she said, I need to lose some weight, Mama.
With Brianna's health in jeopardy, Chanel has started to second guess what she's putting on the dinner table. So when you were taught to cook, were you ever taught about what foods might be healthier than other ones?
No, I was not. I was just taught to cook the soul food.
Which is not quite low fat, huh?
No. I need someone to teach me how. I don't know how to do it. You know, I don't know how going by doing it to shop healthy. You gotta get the ground beef, the wings, and the steak.
At the local grocery store, I start to see just how much Chanel has to learn.
I buys a lot of fruit in the can.
But fruit in the can not good.
Do you like the fruit in the can, Brianna?
It's too sweet.
Retrofitting the family diet means Chanel will have to rethink all of her choices and how she prepares them. I notice you passing the fresh vegetables. Is that not of interest?
Where'd you see some fresh vegetables at?
All of those vegetables out there? So you've never ever picked up fresh vegetables in the produce section?
Nothing but the greens and the lettuce. Get a cabbage.
But you usually don't buy a lot of that, do you?
This cabbage.
You do? And do you cook the cabbage?
Fried.
You fry the cabbage.
That's my favorite vegetable.
I boil it or I fry it sometimes.
Or grill it.
But she
I like
love
the grill.
She been trying to get me to put it on the grill.
This family is struggling to figure out healthy do's and don'ts in the grocery aisle before Brianna gains even more weight.
We just need to change the way we eat and do things as a family, and it'll be beneficial for her and us.
I kept forgetting that Brianna is only 12 years old. I mean, she is a child. If she doesn't make drastic changes, I can't even imagine what the consequences could be. I mean, this is live or die for her. Brianna is now part of a generation that for the first time in American history may have shorter lifespans than their parents.
Like I said before, my name is Joshua Wagner. I'm going to be talking specifically about body mass index, otherwise known as BMI. What BMI is a person's weight in kilograms divided by the square of their height in meters. So we have that equation up here for you to see easily. So you just be the person's weight in kilograms divided by height in meters square. And so a lot of scales, especially here in America, don't come in kilograms. So we also have another equation for how to measure it with weight in pounds. So you go on the scale, and you put your child on the scale, you would measure their weight in pounds, you multiply it by 703, and then you would take their height in inches, and then you would multiply that you'd square that, and then divide that into the number on the top. And that's how you measure your adolescent's BMI. And so for children and teens, BMI is dependent on their age and their sex. So what's an acceptable, or an acceptable BMI is going to be dependent on the age and the sex of the child. And while the BMI is not a foolproof method to see whether or not your child has obesity or is underweight, it's an inexpensive and easy way to perform body fat content. So the CDC has found a correlation between high BMIs and high fat content, even though it does not take into account muscle mass. And so here on the next slide, we have an example of a BMI chart that's from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. And so here we have the child's age and the child's BMI. And so basically what you would do is you would put your child's age, and after you found out their BMI, you would be able to move from the age. So here is an example of a 10-year-old boy whose BMI is 13, and because that's in the orange zone, he'd be underweight. And then you have a BMI of 18 would be in the green, a BMI of 21, and then a BMI of 23. Anything above this line that's in the red is 95th percentile, which if you're above the 95th percentile, it's considered that the child or the adolescent has obesity. And this is an easy way for you to tell whether or not your child is considered to have obesity. And this is the same thing, but this is a BMI chart that is for girls. And so because boys and girls are changing a lot, and during this time, their bodies are changing, and they have different fat contents that are seen as acceptable, there are different charts for boys and girls at this age. And so you can see that it's slightly different, but it's still the same, where you have here, it's blue, that's underweight, green is your average weight, yellow is overweight, and then the pink here is considered to be a child who has obesity.
Hi, I'm Sam, so I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about what obesity actually is. So, according to the CDC, obesity is defined by a child's BMI or the body mass index. So, if your child's BMI is in the 95th percentile or higher, they are considered to be obese. So, what that means is that when they're in the 95th percentile, that means they have a body mass index that is greater than 95% of kids that are in that reference range that is used by the CDC. So being in the 95th percentile means that it's higher, like I said, higher than what is considered to be normal. So there's several different causes to obesity. These are just a few of them. So it could be eating habits, having a sedentary lifestyle, sometimes even genetics and stress can contribute to it. So if your kids are eating a lot of foods that are high in fat, high in sugar, that can make them gain weight. And a lot of times kids are not moving around, watching TV, playing video games, even just studying and not getting outside or doing some type of exercise, it can make them gain weight. Again, like I said, genetics can play a part in it, and so can stress. A lot of times stress raises your cortisol levels, which in turn makes you gain weight.
I'm David Romaine Leonard. I'm going to be talking to you about the consequences of obesity. The first one is depression, which is just a lack of motivation to do anything, sadness, you don't really want to get out of bed, things like that. Diabetes, which is when you have high blood sugar and your body's not able to process the high amounts of sugar that's coming in. Hypertension, high blood pressure, typically due to like diet and a sedentary lifestyle, as far as maybe and taking too much salt and not moving around enough. Hyperlipidemia is high cholesterol. So when you have an accumulation of fatty deposits within your blood vessels, it makes it harder for your heart to pump blood throughout the body. And lastly, lowered self-esteem. This is just a general sense of not liking your appearance or just the way you are. And so I think that's really important to cover with your adolescent, since that's a prevalent subject within adolescence as well. And then here are also other risks of diseases that obesity increases the risk for. So along with these consequences that we focused on, there's also liver disease, fatty liver, female disorders, abnormal periods, infertility, arthritis. Just because of the excess weight, it's harder for your joints to function properly. Inflamed veins, gout, other heart diseases, sleep apnea and snoring, and stroke.
Hi, my name is Sydney, and I'm going to be discussing some healthy eating choices that will help prevent obesity in adolescents. So one of the things you can do is make half of your plate fruits and vegetables. So you want to consume dark green, red, and orange vegetables that have high nutrients like vitamin C, fiber, and calcium. You also want to choose whole grains like whole wheat bread, brown rice, and oatmeal instead of refried grains like white rice and white bread. Then you want to power up with low-fat or lean meats like chicken or turkey, and other protein-rich foods like seafood, egg whites, beans, and nuts. Then you want to build strong bones with fat-free or low-fat milk products, so you can consume fat-free yogurt, which is a good source of dairy. Then you want to limit your intake of saturated fats and trans fats. So saturated fats include like fatty meats, cheese, and other dairy products from whole milk. So you want to take it easy on fried foods. And you also want to consume less than 2,300 milligrams per day of sodium. So like processed foods that are canned or packaged have more sodium than unprocessed foods. So unprocessed foods are like fresh frozen fruits and veggies that you want to consume. Then you want to consume less than 10% of your added sugars of your daily calories. So you want to stay away from ice cream, baked desserts, and beverages that have added sugars in them. And instead you can reach for an apple or a pear instead of a candy bar.
Hi, my name is Rhonda Catalina, and I'm going to teach you a few methods on how to prepare healthy meals. So we'll be going over how to cook vegetables in the microwave. Once you make your healthy selections, it's like, now what do I do with it? So you can make vegetable noodles as well, so that's a fun thing that we're going to go over. Stovetop steaming, healthy seasonings, and one-pan meals, which are my favorite. So the first one, easy microwave steaming. You can steam a spaghetti squash in the microwave for 15 minutes. So what you do, first you have to kind of carve out the insides like a pumpkin. So you just carve out this insides and then you place it in a microwave safe bowl, and you can cover it with plastic wrap, and you can even just leave one side open to kind of steam it. You just place it in the microwave for 15 minutes and you leave it there, and you can do other things that you need to get done that day. And then when you're done, you'll get some noodles that look like this. So you can use these just in your fork. Let's see, I'll show you how. Once it's done, you just kind of have to scrape it like this and they come out like noodles, which is pretty cool. And you can use that as a healthy substitute to get more vitamins in for your children instead of a typical pasta dish. Just use your spaghetti sauce and any protein and additional vegetables that you need to use for that meal. Also, you can do this kind of method with other vegetables. If you have broccoli or any other kind of vegetables, you can put them in the microwave safe bowl and just with a little bit of water and set it in the microwave and steam it. So it's pretty simple, pretty quick. And I know a lot of us don't have time to cook in the kitchen a lot with healthy food, and that's a barrier sometimes. Another way to make a noodle substitute for vegetable noodles is zucchini noodles. So once you're done, they'll look like this. I'm not sure if you can see them very well, so we'll put them right here. And after the presentation, if you want to come practice with any of the stuff I have, for this one you will have to buy like a vegetable spiraler. But basically you can just like you're peeling a potato or something, and they come out like noodles, and then you just saute them, or you can steam them in water in a pan and add sauce and stuff like that, like any other dish. For stovetop steaming, you'll also have to buy something, but you can put water into a saucepan and put a lid over it, and it will kind of steam itself. But you can also buy one of these steamers, which is my favorite because it's kind of a two-part steaming. You just put a little bit of water in the bottom one, and then you have this nice little tray, which I love. And then you can toss some broccoli in here. And really all you do is just set it and forget it. You just put it on and it does all the work for you, so you have like healthy steamed vegetables that they taste a little bit better than frozen, but frozen's also another good choice. And lastly, healthy seasonings is what I want to talk about too, and it kind of goes into the one pan meal. I already have some chicken set up here on my pan. And then really all you have to do is toss some vegetables onto the pan with it. I've got broccoli, peppers, you can include some onions. And all you really need to do is drizzle all of this in olive oil and a salt-free seasoning. I know the H-E-B in town has a couple different ones that have 0 salt in the seasonings. They have like garlic and herb, onion seasoning, ranch, chipotle. So whatever flavor you're going for, like all these vegetables, just soak it up. And this one's my favorite because you can make a good amount. Like you can even put 2 pans in the oven if you want to prepare meals for a few days. And just put some salt-free seasonings and olive oil, and you just set it in the oven for 20 minutes. And I love this because I just put it in the oven and I can go do whatever I need to do for 20 minutes in the house. So you're welcome to come up after the presentation and we can go through more details of how to cook these meals. But that's all I have. Okay, so that concludes our presentation on obesity and healthy eating for adolescents. We appreciate you being here today and hope that you'll be able to state a healthy weight according to your child's height and age and define what obesity is.
And we hope that you can state the consequences of obesity, identify healthy eating choices, and state 2 ways to prepare a healthy meal.
If you have any questions, feel free to come up after the presentation.